Oh, you're my kilt bar, my yummy, yummy superstar. My kilt bar, I love you so every day.
Strange little dancing fella. It's not Kilt Bar, it's Built Bar, and they're delicious.
I'm not a strong reader. I've been drunk since I was in the womb, and my father was a religious man. He used to beat me within an inch of my life every Sunday.
Neat. Well, anyway, I just wanted you to know the name of that delicious protein bar you're eating. See ya.
Maybe there's a way to do both. Now my Built Bar's got a kilt and it looks so darn good. Better than I ever knew it could. Just 'cause you're built, don't mean you can't wear a kilt.
Oh, that's perfect. Room temperature tea when you're when I have the HIV. This is perfect body temperature, so I could like put it in a pouch and beat a drug test.
Well, there you go.
You know, and I could win a medal for Russia at the Olympics.
You sound different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I'm sick. So apologies for the lateness, but it's a sinus infection deal. And of course it happens when I run out of the X-Clear stuff. It's just I was traveling, you know, all the stuff, surrounded by people. I know, it's on the way. Glad to be with you. It has been a busy week.
A little bit.
Appreciate you guys filling in for me yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely.
And sometimes I hate being me because I should be home in bed right now.
You should. You'll go there right after.
Is it? You know what? I'm going to ask you. You can comment below because sometimes the ladies, and you know I like the ladies. I like a lady a lot. Sometimes a lower voice, you know, some people think it's got a little bit of
a little deeper, yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
A little ooh.
Yeah.
A little bass.
Little ooh. Did you take what the Russian skaters took? Is that why your voice is lower? So you can go win some medals? The point is they use steroids and they cheat at everything. Also, I hate the Communist Chinese Party. So we have a lot to get to, by the way. It's a live show Monday through Thursday. In case you guys miss us ever here on YouTube, I know this week was an exception because I just fell down.
We notified.
Yeah.
Yeah, we notified.
I mean, I got really sick. It was like Greg Louganis. And... So there was nothing we could do about it, and then it was also a day I had to do work with the Half Asian Larry. But most 10 a.m. Eastern, you can watch on Rumble, you can watch on Mug Club. There's an entire full hour of the show on Mug Club. Today we're doing the Super Bowl, Stephen Knows Sports, taking your chats.
That's going to be fun.
And by the way, you know, when I was watching you guys, you know, watch on the Blaze, that's Mug Club.
Yeah.
It's way better.
Yeah.
It really is way better to watch there because you don't have to, you know, switch over like from YouTube and stuff like that. And they've improved the user face. So question of the day. Should Prime Minister Justin Trudeau have to take a DNA test to prove that he is not, because I'm assuming he is, the illegitimate child of Fidel Castro?
I think just make his black face brown face and
yes,
we'll know.
Yes, exactly. Put on one of those little combat hats.
Yeah.
Here's Kiwi Brown. Please put that on.
Yeah. So comment below if you think he should have to take a DNA test in order to be considered still the legitimate Prime Minister of Canada. Also, look, this is the biggest, we're going to be talking about this today, this is the biggest really sort of mass civil rights protest that's happened in North America in our lifetime, as far as significance. You know, it's not burning down a Walgreens. It's not just going out and putting on vagina hats at the state capitol. This is something that is actually affecting both Canada and the United States. And this is a perfect example of people saying no more and standing up in a tangible way. And the reason that they are being squeezed, the reason that the government is acting tyrannical at this point, we'll get into it. It is absolutely terrifying. It's because they don't want this kind of civil protest to happen in the United States. It's an effective, nonviolent protest, and they are concerned that it will spread stateside. That's why it's being shut down. So all Americans out there, you need to look to your Canadian brethren and see what's happening there, and also see the support that they're getting from the American government. It's just unbelievable. But before we get to that, Gerald A., how are you?
I am better than you.
Yep.
So I would ask how you're doing, but I know full well that
Well,
it's
I have
not
to
so
save
great.
my words because
You
it's
do.
like I was necking with Hellraiser. That's how bad my throat is right now. And I had the COVID. Remember, I had the COVID like 5 weeks ago.
This is worse, right?
Oh, it's so much worse.
That's how you knew it
COVID
wasn't
was a day and a half, and they said, you have a fever. I said, you're bullshitting. And that was about it.
Turns out there are still other things going around.
This is way worse. And then, of
Worth
course,
shutting a country down for 2 years.
Let's do that.
Some
Yeah.
change.
and invoking an emergency Powers Act to ban funding and freeze bank accounts.
Well, yes. Of
And
course.
eliminate voices of dissent. So
Makes sense.
you can hear him, you know him, you love him. And I will be on tour with him. There's still tickets left for Pikes Peak, Colorado, June 18th.
Boom.
I believe Evansville and Michigan are sold out. Sorry, we even added shows. But Pikes Peak, Colorado. Dave Landau, how are you, sir?
Ahoy. And yourself? Good.
Yeah.
I just realized I answered that in all the wrong way. That's just dyslexia. It's like sandwich hat.
Ah, yes. I've had a
You
stroke.
said nothing.
Talking like President Joe Biden.
Yeah. Your ear's bleeding.
Which, by the way, we'll talk about on a Mug Club. Your bit about Joe Biden crapping himself at the Vatican.
Oh, thank you.
Unbelievable.
pretty good.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
We taped Dave's special on Saturday.
Saturday night, yeah.
And I couldn't hear him stage set because the audience it was the Majestic Theater was so loud. So we had to go into the green room and listen through the speaker. And me, my dad, and Johnny were just in tears at because I hadn't heard that. That must be relatively new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was as new as him shitting his pants in Vatican.
We had to wait for the act to happen,
roughly,
and then talk about it.
So we'll see what happens when that special will be available, where we'll make it available, because we don't want to be shut down by the NBC Chi-Coms. But we honor our African-American brethren first because it is, as you know, Black History Month. Here at Loud with Crowder, we want to educate you.
Yeah.
In 2001, Viacom acquired BET, which made BET co-founder Robert Johnson the first black American billionaire.
Really?
Yeah, some black facts. You have the second one here, Dave?
In 2019, Magic Johnson's company,
Sodexo Magic.
Sodexo Magic, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Soda Magic, donated an unprecedented $2 million to HBCU, Grambling State University.
Wow. And it's completely heterosexual.
Completely.
100%.
Before filing for bankruptcy in 2003, rapper Master P had given a recording contract to every other black person he had ever met.
Fact.
So that's a fact.
Yeah, that is fact.
Yeah.
Also, like Sammy Davis Jr. is like, I want to buy a drink for everyone at the Tropicana, babe.
Oh, it was the whole strip.
Yeah, they're like, I don't think you want to. No, I can cover it. Like, that's going to be $40 million.
Yeah.
He's like, no, it's good, babe.
Mr. Bojangles, I'm broke.
That's why when he was dying, there was just the IRS showing up taking rings off his fingers.
You're not going to need these.
Taking out his glass eye.
Yeah.
So sad.
The hood ornament off of his Pontiac.
I could have saved one more with this pin.
There's so much going on here in the country. I really want to talk about Canada in depth because it's gotten so much worse. And I know people have COVID fatigue. The good thing is, I don't know if you know this, masks, you don't need to do anymore of the vaccine. Like that's just in time for election. Woo! But what's going on in Canada, I want you guys to not just get fatigue and think, okay, we've already heard this. You haven't. You have not heard what's been going on.
No.
And it is, as someone who was raised in Canada, I wanted to publicly renounce my Canadian citizenship. Apparently you can't do that.
Really?
I don't know.
Why
They
not?
said you can't. I don't know. I mean, I can do it symbolically. I renounce. I defect. But I guess I still have it.
It's still there. Yeah. Just say-
Sorry, eh?
Can someone in the control room find out what that process is,
Yeah.
just so I can renounce it and then have the paperwork?
You have to call bacon, and it's official.
Right. Yes. Exactly.
That's the deal.
Yes. You have to renounce thinly sliced ham that's referred to as bacon.
Yes, you have to enjoy worse beer. I'm sorry. It's just better beer over there.
It is.
In Canada?
Yeah. It's like moonshine.
Come on, it's better.
You're right.
And I say that as an alcoholic.
Newfoundland. With somebody with a lot of experience.
We would have like Molson Dry commercials on cartoons. And I'm like, what? I was 4 years old.
Yeah. Well, I just thought
I'm
about
watching Bugs
Labatt,
Bunny.
and I
Like,
was
Molson Dry ST. You're like, what? This shouldn't be on Bugs Bunny.
Yeah, Molson XXX. Now back to Paw Patrol.
Yes.
When your dad asks you to run out to get a beer, you know what to grab him.
All right. First, though, we have to watch, and this is a weird time in our country because you have tyrannical governments, and I do mean tyrannical governments, working alongside each other and also working alongside media. We'll get to what's happening with the IOC and NBC and not being able to broadcast any of their clips on YouTube and shutting down smaller channels, and that's also a concern. But you have this happening across the globe. And then you have protesters, young people. This is the first generation of people who are demanding less freedom.
Yeah.
It's very weird. You know, you think of the Civil Rights Act, you think of black Americans, they're sitting there going like, they're like, what do we want? The right to vote. And white people are like, that sounds reasonable. Or you look at the Tea Party. What was the Tea Party? Even the most recent Tea Party. They're like, well, we feel that we're being overtaxed, and this is record amount of spending. And it's like, oh, okay, we disagree with you, but we understand. Now it's like, what do you want? We want to take away their rights. Okay.
Wait, what?
What?
Yeah.
So students at the University of Reno, Nevada, they protested on Monday to bring masks and mask mandates back.
Go Pack! Step back! Our hope is under attack! We are here today to organize a protest to reinstate the mask mandate. This started on Thursday after Governor Sisolak dropped the mask mandate. All these people now on campus who are not wearing masks who could possibly be spreading COVID, and that is, additionally confounded by the fact that we took away our vaccination requirement. So I have no idea of knowing how many of my students, how many of my peers, how many people walking past me are unvaccinated and spreading COVID at a much higher rate.
Well, all the other students have a way of knowing who's the asshole.
President Sandoval, please listen to us. There is a huge population of your university who feels unsafe. Please help us.
It's filled with filthy casinos.
I love how they have on their little sign, solidarity. Remember, we're all in this together.
Yeah,
They're saying,
yeah.
we want you to force them to wear masks because we don't feel safe. Hey, what's the mortality rate for someone your age with Omicron? That's neither here nor there. No, it's both here and there.
Yeah.
Here's something you hear a lot before getting a job. Oh, a Reno man.
Yes.
Well, you're hired.
Yeah. Yeah, that's going to be totally worth the pay.
Yeah.
The paycheck you're giving them every month.
They're demanding mask mandates and vaccine mandates. They're not demanding access to masks. They're not demanding access. By the way, if the mask works the way that you think it works, you wear your own mask. Oh, that's right. That's right, because it only works to stop the spread if someone else is wearing it. But then now they're saying it may not.
You're outside marching outdoors and you're wearing masks. Or were you concerned about the BLM riots? I'm sure that this grad student was probably involved in some of those protests as well, mostly peaceful protests.
Yeah.
And I'm betting that masks weren't much of a concern.
Yeah, just for crying out loud, if you're talking about, being worried that you're outside, just with the Black Lives Matter protests, I mean, just look at the smog.
Well, everyone, it's the same thing if you just said, I think everyone should wear a birthday party hat.
Right.
That's exactly what you're doing. It's
Right.
the same thing.
Someone misreads it, they're wearing a birthday party hat this way.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know, I thought, is this what we're doing? It's like, it's about the same efficacy.
Roughly,
You said
yeah.
birthday suit. Is that illegal?
Not if you're at a slut walk.
Well.
Which, by the way, is the greatest reverse psychology that men ever played on feminist women.
of
They're like, free the nipple. And we're like, no, don't do that.
Hey, there's a naked woman walking around in front of cops. I'm going to guard her with a shield made of a trash can.
Yes.
And my phone to record.
What a useless world.
I know. Just think of those students. This is absolute insanity. We're all in this together. No, we are not. We are not in this together.
Not anymore.
People
Nope.
are not in this together when they want you to be forced to take an mRNA injection in order to conduct commerce, in order to cross state lines.
Yeah.
It's no longer, we're no longer in
able to
this
go to
together.
school.
This is why I don't believe in this false sense of unity, false common ground. There is no common ground with someone who is protesting to take away your rights. They're demanding fewer rights. This is absolute. Look, it's lazy to say it's absolute insanity, but I don't have another word for it. Young people, when you look at least the hippies, okay, they wanted to smoke pot. It was kind of silly, but they also didn't like the war. Fine. At least you understand it. You understand where they're saying we shouldn't be involved in foreign countries. We should be able to put whatever we want in our bodies. Okay, get it. Now we should be able to control what you put on your face and what you put in your body. Freedom!
Not so
Yeah, it makes no sense. And if you don't want to go to a school or live in a place that says you don't, free of mask mandates, you don't have to
Yeah.
wear a mask, I'm sure you can go online and find a college that is equal to the University of Reno.
Yes.
I know there's somebody watching who just hates me now.
I know, right?
It's like, it's a good school. It's
Yeah,
not.
Reno grad forever, tattooed on their chest, you know?
You'd be better off being a phoenix.
Yeah, seriously, you might as well. What's the difference?
Yeah.
Just go online.
Just go on unemployment now and just cut through the red
Seriously,
tape, please.
stop paying them.
Yes. Who's
also-
organizing this protest? That would be Mr. DeVry. He's
Yeah, he's really pissed.
he's an adjunct professor.
Yeah.
The best we've got.
Oh, right now, yeah, there's just there's the professor like, oh, good, nobody's here and shooting heroin.
Yes.
Now I can go ski. That's fantastic.
Who's that broad out there demanding that everybody else wear a mask and get an injection? She's one of the finest students we've got. Well,
that's
here at
right.
University of Reno.
Top tier.
Their rivalry in sports is D4 Schenectady College.
Right. Listen, they're fierce opponents, Steve.
That's what happens. They just show up like, Schenectady, Reno. Okay.
There's riots after games.
Yes.
I've seen it.
Yes.
They once burnt a folding chair.
Yeah, they did. Well, that took half the population of their cities. Crying out loud. Reno, the gateway to Tahoe, as it's called.
Yeah.
By the way, smash that like button as you're watching right now. Before we get into the stuff that could get us removed, smash the like button right now. It helps with the YouTube algorithm, and they don't like it. It's a little screen. You don't have to park a truck on the border. You can just smash the like button. Speaking of tyranny, and this is I want to be clear as to what's going on here because this is happening to everybody. But this last week, I went into my email and I got 4 hard strikes on YouTube, which is very rare
For copyright.
Copyright
Yeah,
strikes.
so not like we're gone and
Not like we're gone,
yeah.
though.
Thank God.
Whoever knows.
we never every day is an adventure.
Rumble, Mug Club, we are hanging by a very thin thread.
Just yesterday.
Yeah. So we were struck 5 times, and I thought, oh, which 5 videos? No, it's one. It's one video that was struck 5 times by several organizations. Guys in the control, maybe you guys can get that to me. I know it was NBC, the IOC.
It was just the IOC
The IOC.
But how does the IOC strike us 4 times in one video?
Or 5.
for like 5 different clips.
Oh, okay.
So
We're not allowed to
it was
show
all from one video.
Right,
that we
right.
did, but
Now-
it was the clips.
Now, here's the thing. We don't want to it's not just happening to us. It's not just because we're right wing, and it's not just because this video happened to criticize the communist government of China and them cheating in the communist Chinese Olympics. But that's the net effect. Here's the thing. This is the problem with social media right now, and this is why we need to change the laws. There needs to be no more safe harbor. 230 is something that needs to be reexamined. There's the law that exists, and then you have YouTube and Facebook and Twitter with their own policies. And sometimes it actually conflicts with the law. For example, single-party consent is what allows for investigative journalism.
Yeah.
That means that both parties do not need to know if a camera is running. That's how you do undercover journalism. And then YouTube says, no, we're going to get rid of videos that James O'Keefe used, even though it's in accordance with the law. We don't want to have it on our platform. Well, hold on a second. You're supposed to obey the law. The same thing happens here, where there's fair use law.
Yeah.
Just to be clear, you're allowed to use clips. Certainly, you're allowed to use video if you're referencing it. We were referencing in this video the Chinese skaters cheating. We were referencing in this video a clip of a journalist being ushered away by a Chinese thug, a communist Chinese thug. And they say, well, hold on a second, this is just because it's the Olympics, so you can't run it. But we can run it if it's the Super Bowl. Again, if you're addressing it, the whole principle, the spirit of the law, to be clear, is you shouldn't just be able to upload an entire Olympic event and make money off of it.
Right.
We're not making money anyways, so that component is gone. Second, the spirit of the law is very different from the letter of the law. You're allowed to take a clip and say, look, someone cheated at the Olympics and cover it. Or say, look, they're shutting down journalism at the Communist Chinese Olympics and cover it. You're allowed to say, look, they're doing the slalom right next to a nuclear reactor and it looks like the introduction to The Simpsons, and you should be allowed to cover it. What this does when YouTube works effectively with international governing bodies and governments, it allows the big guy, namely NBC, who runs the Olympics, to shut down the little guy. This hurts independent journalists. This throttles the ability to deliver information, which is what we all thought the internet would be great for. Remember, it was like there won't be gatekeepers. Well, now there are gatekeepers, right? It used to be the FCC when you were dealing with radio or television. Now it's the IOC and NBC and Vox Universal if they have something that they don't like and they shut it down. So if you want to watch the video, you don't have to go to Mug Club or Rumble to see it.
Yeah.
And it's totally within the realm of fair use law.
Right, and we could use that for the Super Bowl, like you said, or something like the World Cup that's an international event that's incredibly popular around the world. But the IOC is basically making their own rules here. And I don't know how they can get away with that, because covering somebody doing something on the ice and saying, hey, that wasn't actually a penalty, it's really hard to do that with still photography.
Right.
Which is all they pretty much allow. Or you have to go so far as to change all of the like color scheme in the background and like superimpose yourself over it to the point where it becomes comical. And then we even saw some of those videos get struck on other channels. And we're like, okay, this just makes it to where you can't criticize any host country ever for the IOC.
Right.
Or for the
the IOC, more like the POS raise.
Right?
Raise right now.
Especially that was what Mitt Romney put on his resume. He was like, I was an ambassador at the IOC. It's like, oh, so you want to make me like you less?
Wow.
Yeah, it's hard
I
to
didn't know
do.
that was possible.
You put that right on your resume next to University of Reno. There's a LinkedIn. I went to University of Reno, and then I was an ambassador to the IOC. I just hit was there a nuke button that I'm going to hit?
Reno man.
At least a chemical bomb. It's just, this is what happens. Do you think you're more free? Do you think the world is a better place right now?
No.
When rules are being applied selectively that favor, of course, communist corporate overlords. And of course, we know this with the NBA. We know the dollars coming in from China. We know YouTube. We know that they want to get into these markets and they have to play ball with them. Americans, certainly not just this show, but liberal shows, any show should be able to cover what is happening internationally, especially when it's actually in accordance with the law. These companies are acting outside of the law, and it makes you less free. That's it. All right.
And
you can upload a clip of Fox News and say Tucker Carlson's a white supremacist. Doesn't get removed.
no, not at all.
You upload a clip of saying, like, hey, look, that Chinese speed skater is cheating. Look, you can see it right on camera. Like, well, you can't show that.
No. Well, did you see what Twitter did with Defiant L's?
No.
That account? So basically the account.
Oh, yeah, that was
Defiant
last
L's,
night,
all they
wasn't
do,
it?
all they do is screenshot like a tweet from you earlier and then screenshot something from you more recent that's hypocrisy or whatever about masks or vaccines.
Okay.
And retweet what you said. And they were banned last night. Now, I don't think it's banned forever. I think it's banned for 7 days or whatever.
Right. Suspended,
Suspended.
Like, why am I suspended? Well, you retweeted hate speech. Was he suspended? No.
No, of course not.
Why? Because we don't follow the law.
But do you see how that makes no sense at all? Like, these tweets are still up from the original person. All I did is put them side by side so you could see the hypocrisy, and now I'm banned.
Oh, no, it makes perfect sense.
Oh, it does?
Makes perfect sense when you understand what Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, and NBC Universal. Look, follow the money. I don't know why liberals all of a sudden, they would bitch about Citizens United. They would bitch about money and politics. When it comes to the most powerful corporations that have ever existed, however, it's like, oh, you know what? Go make your own Facebook. Go make your own YouTube.
Right, yeah.
Okay, but you're bitching because some guy with some fracking money is giving money to a PAC? Do you have any idea how inconsequential it is compared to the largest companies that have ever existed, creating rules and bending them so that the net effect is you can't criticize the Canadian government or China?
Yeah, we're getting to the point, though, where we're banning 2 screenshots, and
I
they're
know.
still trying to defend it, though.
Yeah, well, we just can't allow this. That's
How
dangerous.
off the rails are we going to allow this to go?
Oh, I think we're going a bit further, Dave.
I mean, we're not on the rails at all, right?
No, technically we're on the rails like we were, like we're an Asian who were pushed by a black man in the subway in New York.
Yes.
I guess.
Sorry, I mean
over
white
us.
supremacist.
Yeah, well,
you're right.
Yes,
the
white
largest
supremacist.
threat.
Correct.
Largest threat
Yes.
in the world
Yes,
is white
today.
supremacists.
Domestic terrorists.
Our apologies for being white.
I don't even think that Chinese Uyghurs have a word for white supremacists. Like, oh, no, you mean the government.
Oh, yeah, I canceled Showtime yesterday.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I realized, I've never done anything like that where I've cared enough, but I was just so bothered by that. I'm like, you know what? I'm just not going to give money to this.
Yeah.
How will I watch the new woke Billions?
That's what I mean. I can't.
Damn.
I can't do it anymore. Where I'm like, I'm just not going to pay you to tell me I'm a piece of shit.
Well, that stings Paul Giamatti. He's like, Dave, you hit me right in my pocketbook. Pow, pow, bam.
Yeah, they don't care. They don't need me.
I'm not drinking Merlot. All right.
Michael C. Hall can afford his own chemo.
Yes. Hey, speaking of people who need to afford some medical treatment, so let it never be said that we have not been critical of cops on this program. Cops are not beyond criticism, especially, this is a Long Island man. He sued and by the way, when I say Long Island man, you have a picture in your head? It's not. He sued the Suffolk police for allegedly ripping off his prosthetic leg during a wrongful arrest. And by allegedly, I mean absolutely. Here's a clip.
Lucas would not give his ID to police and began recording on Facebook Live.
I wasn't peeing in public.
Security video from the store shows 4 Suffolk police cars responding at one point. He says police assaulted him while trying to detain him.
I have a fractured eye socket.
Lucas says it got worse. According to his attorneys, police ripped off his prosthetic leg so Lucas would fit in the police
beat
cruiser.
him with it?
To rip that off is like someone ripping off your skin. because it's almost glued to my skin.
Officers were seen on video tossing the prosthetic leg into a police vehicle.
Well, that looks pretty bad. By the way, you don't need an allegory when it's already bad enough. He's like, ripping off my prosthetic leg is almost like ripping off your prosthetic. That's enough.
Right there.
You really don't need to go.
You don't need to go anymore.
No. There's no worse way to describe that.
Like being run over by a car and lit on fire is like 1,000 mosquito bites.
It's a lot like losing your leg.
Yeah, it's a lot like having your leg ripped off and tossed in the back of a paddy wagon. So I don't have the whole story, okay? I want to be clear.
Yeah.
Though it's hilarious, and I mean, I feel bad for him. But
of course.
But police charged Waverly Lucas with possession of oxycodone. And this is the problem, too, where we've just vilified anyone who takes opioids.
It seems like there's a chance.
There's a chance.
He could need it.
He could need it, because he had his leg cut off.
Right. Just going out on a limb.
Well, it doesn't hurt anymore, Dave. It's not there.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
How fresh is the wound,
Yes,
Gerald?
exactly. They look at
Oh, you mean the cut part? Okay.
Yeah,
they're looking at the
leg off, it's
gangrene.
still bleeding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they take his pills. They're like, what's this here? Sounds like a damn maraca. Yeah, that's my pain pills because I'm in really bad pain.
Yeah.
You see, I'm missing a leg.
I don't know if you know, but not only am I missing a leg, I had a fake leg. It was there 5 seconds ago, and now it's not.
Yeah.
And that's because of you, and it's glued to my skin, and now you're throwing it in the back. And matter of fact, can I have those pain pills back? Let's tell it to a judge. All right.
Yeah, also, I'm a black guy trying to use a bathroom at a gas station in suburban New York. Guess what answer they gave me?
They didn't even give me the key with that giant wooden paddle and shit. They just told me to use the bush.
Very much no.
And it's hard for me to use the bush because the ground is uneven, and there's a little known key factor that you seem to forget, that I got a fake leg!
Which, by the way, I'm sorry, unspoken rule. I think if any man sees another man paying as well as he can in secret hiding, you leave him alone.
Yeah, you leave him alone.
It is.
Come on, just let it go.
There are people who've been put on the sex offender list because they were peeing in a bush.
It's completely unfair.
Guy code. Come on.
Come on, guy code.
Let it go.
Just let it go. And if it's a woman, you don't even bring it up.
Yeah, you don't even bring it up because then at that point you'll get
Yeah.
me too. And if it's, you know what? And also there's, this is also the unwritten rule. You also extended a little bit more for the prosthetic leg. It's what we call the grace leg.
Yes, we do. We call it. You give it a leg up, and I think that's just fair.
Crying out loud.
It's true though. Just let them go. Be like, oh, are these Oxycontin? That's good. I hope you get a refill.
Yes.
No, we actually took some from another guy earlier. Here's some more.
Yeah, here's some more.
Have a good day.
Yes.
I feel like it's going to cut to the one-armed bandit from The Fugitive, and he's like, yeah, you're right. It really does hurt when that prosthetic gets ripped off.
Yeah. Well, the irony is that the officer who arrested him, his hand was a hook.
Ah.
Yeah, it was great.
You'd think he'd have some empathy. He's like, yeah, come on, I got a leg at him. You know what I'm talking about. He's like, I don't know. Don't bring me into this.
Tommy Lee Jones walks up.
I want every prosthetic leg, prosthetic arm, fake leg, fake arm, fake hand, everything.
I need video of this man peeing right now. Get it for me.
Yeah. Now, to be fair, to be fair to the police, amputee crime, it's a genre and it's on the rise. And it's so common, it even has its own cops spinoff.
Tonight on Dumb Cops.
Control, we're gonna need some backup. I know sometimes you gotta cuff a perp to an object, okay, so they can't get away. You can attend to other business. Wait for the cavalry to arrive. All right, now, this is an open shut case right here, all right? Pain pills. Claims he's an amputee, all right? Yeah, what's he need pain pills for, all right? This is not the first time I've arrested an amputee, all right?
Stay tuned for more Dumb Cops.
You know, that's actually much more interesting than normal cops.
It really is. Yeah.
Normal cops, they, by the end of the run, just be like, tonight, going on in Poughkeepsie, this man was going 77 in a 75 zone.
Ooh.
Like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm driving. Like, all right, I'm going to write you a citation. Bad boys, what you want? Like, this is a show?
It's called getting out of a ticket.
Yes.
Steven Seagal does a ride-along with cops.
He goes up to the car. It's a hot blonde. He just turns to the camera. He's like,
leans in. How you doing?
Till he sees that she has a fake leg and he beats her with it.
Yeah.
What pieces of crap.
Sees her Adam's apple and real penis.
Yeah.
Is that a poodle?
If I'm arresting somebody and he has a fake leg, come on. I'm just going to be like, this guy's had a bad day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
he's had a bad
life.
a while.
Yeah. All right.
Not to say that all people of
No.
course, with one leg, have bad days every day.
No, they can have great days.
Yeah, but they're just worse than yours.
Yes. Lesser than.
I'm just saying your day's better because you didn't put on your leg in the morning.
Right. Yeah.
You put on your pants.
I'm just like you. I put on my legs one at a time, and then I don't have to put on the other leg because it's my body, and then I put on pants one at a time. So I'm just like you. Yeah. That's not at all like me. Well, you know what? When it came out of my mouth, I realized it didn't make sense.
Right. I do set my alarm 3 minutes earlier as a count as I have to put a shoe onto a fake leg and then the fake leg onto my knee.
And I have to take into account which shoe because there's a good chance that later on I'm going to be beaten with it. So I don't wear Timberlands no more.
Now, if you excuse me, I'm going to go get some opium.
Yep.
Your Honor, he beat himself with his own leg. It was very weird.
Yes.
Yeah, let him go. Even if he doesn't need it, just let him go. It's been a bad 2 years
What is it, like
for
the
everyone.
first person peeing in the public in Suffolk County? Really?
Oh, no.
He has a puma imprint on his face.
Yeah.
They're like, he did that himself. He's like, no, I didn't, Your Honor. Come on. Come on, Your Honor.
Yeah, all the lawyer has to say is, Your Honor, he made New York smell like piss.
Yeah.
So
it's
all on him.
Right. Well, correlation equals causation, so guilty. Ah!
Dang it.
He's hopping out with the bailiff.
I got to make that mistake again.
All right.
Meanwhile, there's people peeing on the courthouse.
Yes. Well, that's because they're trying to put out the fire that Antifa started. Like it's a jellyfish wound.
That'll be $25.
All right. Let's also, speaking of walking open wounds, so I want to, well, Joy Reid is going to come into the segment, but Monday night, a Black Lives Matter activist, Quintez Brown, he was arrested for attempting to shoot the Louisville mayor, Louisville mayor candidate. You know what? Just watch this clip, and then there's more to the backstory that, of course, shouldn't make sense, but it makes complete sense because it's 2022.
Just before 9 tonight, Louisville Metro Police announced that they've arrested this man, 21-year-old Quintez Brown, for the shooting at Greenberg's Butchertown Market office this morning. A police report just released moments ago says Brown was caught less than a half-mile away from the Butchertown Market. The report says from police that he had a loaded 9mm magazine in his pants pocket. Now, investigators have not released a possible motive in the shooting just yet. Earlier today, LMPD Police Chief Erica Shields said they're exploring all options.
Mr. Greenberg is Jewish. So
could have just stopped at Greenberg.
That. We don't know if it's tied to the candidate, political, or if it's just, are we dealing with someone who has mental issues or is venomous? I don't know.
Well, I think the person who's dealing with mental issues is whoever gave you that flock of seagulls haircut.
I don't know what you are, Edward Scissorhands.
Yeah. Robert Smith.
Dum dum.
We go now to Sergeant Monday Night. All right.
Yeah.
Why is she so weird? You shouldn't be allowed to be in a position of authority if you look that weird. It's just I know it's a personal thing, but it's just a general rule.
Well, you're talking to the media and you go, yeah, so he was Jewish, and so there's that. What do you mean? So there's that.
Just go into a barbershop in this case and go, yes, I'm a female cop. Can you make me look extra dextra lesbian?
Yes. I want people to meet me at first glance and say, huh? Do you have a number for that on the Clippers?
Yeah. I don't want to come out on Thanksgiving, but I do.
Yes. This saves me an awkward conversation.
This helps me.
I just show up, I go, Dad, we need to talk. I think we understand each other.
You've seen Eddie and the Cruisers?
Yes. So, okay, in 2019, Brown was actually recognized by the Obama Foundation for his work in the community, and he got to meet President Obama.
Oh, what an honor.
Upstanding young citizen.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the guy with the fake leg is getting the crap kicked out of him by a cop.
Well, you know. Now,
he was also on Joy Reid's show, and I know this is Joy Reid because she changes her hair. She's such a chameleon. It's like Joy Reid never looks the same twice.
No.
2018, and he told the mayor to give this organization Black Lives Matter, right? This what they want, and which is kind of ironic because what this guy wanted, who just shot the Jewish man, Mr. Greenberg. I know, great detective work, by the way. Mr. Greenberg, it's like Steven Seagal showing up. Greenberg, he's Jewish. Oh,
but if you check that bloodline,
so glad he was here.
Yeah,
we wouldn't have known.
So he was demanding on Joy Reid from the mayor. He said, meet our demands and see if you can catch the irony. Hint, he wanted gun control.
You're from the home state of the Senate Majority Leader. What do you want him to know?
Well, I want you to know that, you know, we are here and we want common sense gun reform. And if you're not going to give us that, then we're going to get everyone out here to vote, and we're going to vote you out of office. So if you want to keep your job, then, you know, give us not what we want, but what we need, what humans need. We need common sense gun reform. Get rid of assault rifles.
Well,
how about we just get rid of you? Is that a good thing? Like, we'll get rid of you because you're using the guns to shoot people.
Right.
And I get to keep my gun.
What's common sense? Oh, I don't know, shooting Jews?
Yeah.
Yeah, it turns out people are still the problem. Okay,
like,
got it.
You shot a Jew. Yeah, I didn't do that shit with a pistol grip.
Yeah.
Nope.
You know,
it was a regular knife.
Common sense. I had a bullet button on that shit. I would like to be free to go because Kamala Harris just raised $2 million for me.
Thank you. I'll be right back.
Now, keep in mind, of course, white supremacy, that's the greatest threat to our homeland security. Now, there was this editorial, by the way, suggesting that Brown, the man you just saw, you just saw both those videos, right? I don't need to replay them. Everyone saw this?
Yep.
Okay. There was an editorial that was suggesting he was a Republican after he had already been identified as a left-wing Black Lives Matter activist. Let me read this for you. It says, while there's been no indication yet that the activist had ties to any right-wing organizations, and by they mean yet, they mean there are no ties ever, the shooting comes amid a rise in threats against politicians fueled by increasingly violent rhetoric from extremist Republicans.
What?
The man you just saw. That guy.
You mean the guy going for more gun control?
Yes.
And is a BLM activist, is secretly conservative.
He's secretly a white supremacist as well.
Well, that's true. He's the black face of white supremacy.
He's the black face of white supremacy.
Well, I think you're, I don't see a hole in this argument at all.
Joy Reid, why are you platforming white supremacists?
Oh, my God.
Where will it end? Next thing, you're going to have someone on there with a fake leg?
Yeah.
Mostly liberal conservative? What are we talking about here?
Unlike that Jewish man, there are no holes in that argument.
No. Jeez. Drinks his cocktail. It just
cannot.
My Manischewitz.
Everywhere.
How do is the Inquirer still around? Like, there's no fake newspapers, right?
It's just newspapers,
right? I just want to.
I mean, this comes from the Las Vegas Sun. While there's been no indication yet that the activist had ties to any right-wing organization,
the
story of Bat Boy was more credible,
by far.
And here's the thing: these are the people who are considered legitimate news sources, like Brian Stout. These are the same people who signed petitions. They want to get rid of Joe Rogan. They want to get rid of this program because they want you to have to rely on them. You just saw Quintez Brown, guest on Joy Reid, Black Lives Matter activist. Here's the thing: either they're lying or they are so bad at their job that the net result should be the same. No more Las Vegas Sun.
Nope, no more Reno grads working at the Las Vegas Sun.
No, that's the only place they get hired.
Yes. That's a big step up to go to Vegas.
Yeah, they hire exclusively from the Schenectady Community College talent pool.
Yeah,
we've had good results. We feel good about this.
Yeah, this is good.
Solid.
They all wear masks here. It's great.
Yeah.
No one smiles because you can't see it.
Right. Also because they don't have teeth. So, by the way, we just you saw this earlier today. Built Bars, they're a wonderful sponsor to the show. I have lost 35 pounds.
Have you
Built Bars,
really?
Built Bars have been a big part. I replaced desserts at night with them. They're delicious. They use real chocolate. Go to built.com. Use the promo code Crowder15. You get 15% off.
Nice.
Just give them a whirl. They are absolutely delicious. No one needs protein bars. You're not. No one needs it to get. But it tastes like dessert.
Well, you freeze it, don't you?
Yeah, you can put them in the freezer, and it tastes like one of those Snickers bars.
Yeah.
That new brownie fudge chunk. Oh my gosh.
I think I have the double chocolate.
Do you have the double chocolate? Yeah. Well,
I've gained 35 pounds because of them.
Well, you're not supposed to eat a box.
Say that
every day,
but they're
Dave.
quite tasty.
Yeah.
Sorry.
All day, every day.
I mean, you eat some like M&Ms.
We keep ordering more for the studio, and I was wondering where they were going.
It's not important where they're going.
Yeah.
No, I think it is, Dave. I think your stomach.
We're abusing the good graces of sponsors at that point.
Yeah, that's how. The guy's immediately defensive when you're trying to figure something out.
Yeah.
I don't know where they're going. Who cares? Come on, guys.
Why
Let's
would
move on.
you ask?
Yeah.
Next topic.
I can smell it from your pores.
Is that birthday cake? Do I smell birthday?
You're sweating mint.
Yes. All right. This is the segment that I really want to get to. Again, I was raised in Canada, so please don't just go with me on this because I'm half Canadian. I want you listening, watching, to understand really the severity of the consequences here. There's a reason that they are trying to shut this down, the trucker protest, the trucker freedom convoy in Canada, at all levels. What do I mean at all levels? I mean the government trying to shut it down, effectively label these people domestic terrorists. The government saying that these views are impermissible. Intolerable. Then I'm talking about the government putting leverage on private organizations to stop funding to these protests. Contrast that with Kamala Harris and people on the DNC raising money for terrorist organizations like Black Lives Matter and for Antifa with these catch and release programs. I'm talking about at every level when they actually are going to fine and imprison truckers for exercising their freedoms. I'm talking about on every level when the government is deciding to have content removed online supporting these protests. And here's the thing. That may not be able to happen in the United States. But guess what? Former Vice President Joe Biden made some calls to Canada and was supportive of it. That's when they started enforcing some of these laws. They feel like they have the full support of the American government. Do you think for a second that if the United States government, former Vice President Joe Biden, do you think that if he could do this here, thank God for the Constitution, the checks and balances, do you think for a second that he wouldn't? So I want to get to this in Canada because a lot of people they are worried that this could spread to the United States. Make no mistake. That's exactly what is going down right now. If this were to happen in the United States, people would realize we don't need to burn down a Walgreens and destroy our own neighborhoods. We can actually protest, especially right now, and disrupt supply chains and make our voices heard peacefully while still having a net impact because it's worked in Canada. They don't want this to happen in any state. So before I get to this, remember when I warned you not too long ago, I don't know if we have a date on it, when Trudeau was first starting with, and people were saying, oh, this is fear-mongering. No, it's not. The first step towards tyranny is always othering points of view, and especially if the government decides that certain points of view are not allowed. That's why the First Amendment is so important. The government should never be allowed to determine what opinions are permissible. And I told you, this is the step toward tyranny when he said it. Here you go. Racists, fascists, sexists, and said that they hold unacceptable views. In case you've forgotten, here he is.
Mais il y a aussi des gens qui sont farouchement opposés à la vaccination.
Qui sont extrémistes.
Qui croient pas dans la science, qui sont souvent misogynes, souvent racistes aussi. C'est un petit groupe, mais qui prend de la place. Et là, il faut faire un choix en tant que leader, en tant que pays. Est-ce qu'on tolère?
Small fringe minority of people who are on their way to Ottawa or who are holding unacceptable views that they're expressing.
Done. Tyrant.
Do not represent the views of Canadians.
Don't even want to hear the rest. Unacceptable views. Done. Tyrant. Period. That's it. You've crossed the line. That's it. No leader of an allegedly free country gets to determine what is an unacceptable view outside of actual violent crime, of course. I need to say that. Done. That's it. You're a tyrant. He needs to be out. Now, I don't want to say I told you so. But Monday, Justin Trudeau, again, you guys know about the Freedom Convoy. It's been entirely peaceful. Invoked Canada's Emergencies Act. Yeah. Basically putting Canada under selective martial law.
After discussing with Cabinet and caucus.
First time since 1988.
After consultation with premiers from all provinces and territories. After speaking with opposition leaders, the federal government has invoked the Emergencies Act to supplement provincial and territorial capacity to address the blockades and occupations.
It's an occupation.
I want to be very clear.
I'm kind of retarded.
The scope of these measures will be time-limited, geographically targeted, as well as reasonable and proportionate.
Hey, time limited. I feel like something 2 weeks to flatten the
typically
curve.
That's
It's almost like the people who he's violating are upset that they were lied to about measures being time limited before.
Weird. Well, I'm curious. I thought this was a small fringe minority. Why in the world would that necessitate emergency powers that were passed in 1988 and never, ever, ever invoked before?
Do you want to be beaten with a fig leg? Stop asking those questions.
Sounds interesting, but no.
It's fine that it's over 30 years. It makes perfect sense.
Yes. Yeah. And by the way, what does this mean? This gives Prime Minister Fidel Castro's illegitimate son the power to freeze corporate bank accounts and cancel insurance of any trucks participating in the protest. This can be done without a court order.
Done.
And it protects the banks from retribution. So last week, Toronto Dominion Bank froze two personal bank accounts that each received $1.1 million for the protests. Now, it's not about whether you live in a free country. It's not about whether you live in a country with laws. It's are the laws applied equally?
Yeah.
When they raise money for Black Lives Matter protesters, when they protect organizations like Antifa, when this prime minister kneels with Black Lives Matter activists, and then freezes money in personal accounts through emergency powers, which he says will be time limited, you no longer live in a free country.
Yeah. The 1988 act that he's referencing there gives the government power to do that for 30 days. That's it.
Right.
He also has power to do it by himself without approval for 7 days.
Yeah.
And then it goes to Parliament to get voted on, and if it gets voted, then he gets 30. He's got 7 days to do whatever the hell he wants. Do you remember when former Vice President Joe Biden extended the rent moratorium, right? So people didn't have to pay it? He's like, oh, yeah, it'll get struck down by the Supreme Court, but it gives us a couple more months. I'm like,
right.
That's breaking the law. You know it won't hold up.
They're effectively acting like it's the purge.
Yeah, exactly.
But for 7 days.
Yeah.
Like, we can do whatever we want.
We'll squeeze them for 7 days. That'll break them. Yeah. And then, okay, they won't pass it. I'll be fine.
Hey, how about no days? How about that? Make that your new favorite, Trudeau. No days. So
it's not your money. How about that?
Yeah.
You're not allowed to just steal from your citizens.
Well, that should be obvious.
That's what it is.
Right.
It's thievery from your citizens.
Yeah. It's theft. It's theft and it's thuggery. Because how do they take the money? How do they intimidate the banks?
Threats.
Ultimately, it's the government that has guys with guns. Oh, and also, by the way, you have a country of people who largely don't have guns.
Yeah.
So Trudeau and his deputy prime minister, they also broadened the scope, is the term that they use, of money laundering and anti-terrorism laws.
Okay.
See, this is like when they broaden the scope of terrorism to include not just white supremacists, but to include conservative churches that have happened. If you look at like the Southern Poverty Law Center, you look at what they do. We'll broaden the definition here. Well, doesn't terrorism have to be violence with means to a political? No. It's just it could be peaceful truck drivers.
And because you be
it's
white people.
Whatevs.
Yeah, it's whatever. It's just money laundering.
Yeah.
What? Money laundering? How does that apply here? It doesn't.
You mean funding a peaceful protest, which your law doesn't cover, by the way? Specifically, you can't use it to break up a peaceful protest.
Oh no, they can.
So
they can
for 7 days.
Well, they can because it's Canada.
Well, yeah,
they also don't have the First Amendment.
I know, but their law.
Remember when you all said Jordan Peterson, or a lot of people said Jordan Peterson was silly because he said, "I'll use the pronouns that my students prefer, but I'm not going to be compelled by the government to use language." So that's not what this bill is about. No, it's no longer a Trojan horse. Like it's a Trojan horse, only they're riding on the horse. They're no longer hiding in the horse. They're like, "Hey, we're here to screw you. Let us in."
Come on in. It looks like a fun horse.
So the deputy prime minister broadened the scope of money laundering and anti-terrorism laws to target, and this was a workaround because GoFundMe booted $10 million, right, that was raised for the trucker convoy. So they've used this now to target an alternative platform, Give, Send, Go. Here you go.
First, we are broadening the scope of Canada's anti-money laundering and terrorist financing rules so that they cover crowdfunding platforms and the payment service providers they use. These changes cover all forms of transactions, including digital assets, such as cryptocurrencies. As of today, all crowdfunding platforms and the payment service providers they use must register with FINTRAC, and they must report large and suspicious transactions to FINTRAC.
By the way, a lot of the crypto guys are like, shoot! Our main selling point was that the government can control it. And they're like, by the way, we're taking all your crypto. You can't do that. Yes, we can.
Just going to say the same thing. That was exactly.
But it's encrypted. Great. Well, you can encrypt it for us.
It's only a matter of time before they're like, no, it's ours.
Yeah, it's ours.
It's the same money.
It's ours now.
Did you see what she said? She said you have to report large and suspicious. Define large, because most of these people that are logging on and giving money to these truckers are giving like $25 and $40 and $50 and $100 to help them out.
They're giving $20? Who are they? The Rockefellers?
I mean, that's large.
I could be wrong, but I believe there is actually a section on like IRS sheets where you have to fill out like the amount of drugs you've sold and what it was. And I could be wrong, but I think there actually is a section. Like, who's doing that?
Right.
All right. Well, I did.
It's here on the form. I got to fill it out.
83 pounds of cocaine. I mean, what does it count if I put in baby powder? Which,
Calling your CPA. Does poppy tea count?
Yes, hello.
Come on. Can I write off my gun that I illegally purchased for this business?
We'll just write down that you ordered 942,000 poppy seed bagels. That'll be fine.
That'll work.
Kroger bag of handguns with no serial numbers.
They didn't have SKUs either. It was weird.
President's Choice K-bars?
I mean, it misfired. That doesn't count, right? It's not a write-off.
So Give, Send, Go. And we had obviously one of the truckers on here because $10 million was raised on GoFundMe. GoFundMe decided they were going to freeze it and give it to charities, which of course is theft. And then when they had enough backlash, they said, we'll give people a refund. Give, Send, Go raised millions of dollars. This was a more independent, right, organization. And it was hacked. And it was replaced with this message condemning the Freedom Convoy. Attention, give, send, go, grifters and patriots. The Canadian government has informed you that the money you assholes raised to fund an insurrection is frozen. They also said you helped fund the January 6th insurrection in the United States.
Oh, really?
Huh? What? What, they have a DeLorean? They have a DeLorean and a passport?
Yeah.
They said you helped fund an insurrection in Ottawa. In fact, you are committed to funding anything that keeps the raging fire of misinformation going until it burns the world's democracies down. And this is it. The people who fancy, this is why I never liked when people talked about Anonymous and they had their stupid Guy Fawkes mess, which, by the way, if you actually look at Guy Fawkes, this guy wanted basically a religious oligarchy. So it's a stupid example to use. People don't understand what he wanted. They are what? They're using their tactics now to hack, freeze, and punish peaceful protesters who are just demanding that they not be forced to put something in their bodies. Think about that for a second.
Yeah.
What's your demand? That we not be proactively forced, coerced by the government to put something in our bodies in order to make a living for our families. And what happens is these people claim to be rebels and they claim to be fighting for freedom. Why? Because they've labeled you misinformation. If you label someone misinformation, then of course you're not infringing on their freedoms. You're just infringing on, the misinformation. It's just, it's what Brian Stelter said.
Yeah. And normally we look at dictatorships that kind of set the tone for the despots around the world. Like, he did it. Gaddafi did it, so I can do it to my citizens. No. People are looking to the United States and saying, January 6th, that was an insurrection, though no one has been charged with insurrection to my knowledge as of this date. That's the same thing that's happening in Canada here. So they're looking to us and going, that's insurrection. You mean guys parked in your capital and shutting down traffic? That's an insurrection. Do we need to change that definition as well?
Yeah. What was Chaz where they took over 8? So it's a Summer of Love, man. It's Summer of Love.
Music festival.
Yeah, Summer of Love. How many people were shot? Well, we lost count.
It's unbelievable.
Have you been
to
the
the word
Airbnb?
Patriots is out there now, so that's cool.
Yeah,
Patriot.
Patriot.
One. I like that.
That'll be the one that goes from white supremacists. That's it was a Patriot.
Yeah,
was that Quintez Brown?
Well, don't worry. They'll have an acceptable protest list for us to access later.
Yeah.
You can protest if it's this.
Go burn down a CVS and take $999 from Target.
Do they have Wendy's in Canada?
No, but you can burn down a Tim Hortons.
Fire and Ice?
Yeah.
There's a lot of Tim Hortons.
Yeah. There's plenty of those.
The principle's the same. Just, wreak havoc, damage stuff, and the government will just look the other way. Uncle Sam is what we say here. I don't know. Uncle Leaf, whatever it is in Canada.
Yeah.
Syrup.
Aunt Sappy.
Yeah. So according to Rebel News, the personal data leaked during the hack of Give, Send, Go was used by the CBC to contact harassed donors who gave to the truckers. Again, people don't understand this. You don't need to go to Venezuela to see government-funded broadcasting. Well, you really just need to go to PBS here, but they're not as powerful. In Canada, CBC, the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, decided they were going to harass donors and individuals. That's the government. Again, when the government funds the media and the media does their bidding, you no longer have a free press. When people bitch about the corporate press in the United States, I get it. Tom Selleck, reverse mortgages, right? Wilford Brimley, diabetes. It's annoying, but I will take a couple hover-round commercials if it means that I don't have to get my news exclusively from the government.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So Trudeau also mentioned the order provides an opportunity to
screw the
use
people.
blackface. That was if you put it in a writer.
He's got blackface.
Shoe polish galore for him.
Yeah. Why is there $9 million in earmarks for Kiwi shoe polish?
Yeah. And our new sponsor, Kiwi.
Yeah.
Canada. We love Kiwi.
So he mentioned that the order also provides an opportunity to compel. This is the word that he used. Opportunity to compel, which if your testicles have not retracted back into your body cavity out of fear yet, then I will show you a clip. This means, of course, they get to force companies to comply.
There will be an ability to compel
for
just compensation tow truck owners and operators to actually do the jobs for which they have contracts with various orders of government to keep highways and roads clear. This is an example of a specific tool that is now available to local police of jurisdiction in places all across the country if needed. It will be to them to determine whether or not that is needed.
Hey, guys in the control room, too, can you give me that quote that I had from the Fortune article? I want to bring that up. So this is, before we get to that, let me give you the definition from the dictionary of compel, because it sounds like, just compel.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Means to force or drive, especially to a course of action. What he is saying is this will allow the government to force people to what? Do what we demand. How's that freedom? How's that freedom? Because they're not just talking about forcing you, for example, to not break the law. By the way, that's not compelling you to do anything. That's setting a standard where you cannot harm somebody else. Compelling you, forcing you, meaning forcing you to do something proactive, like, I don't know, take a vaccine. That's different than saying, don't shoot that guy, don't hit that person.
Yeah. We're
going to put this in you. This experimental mRNA, I hate using the term vaccine, injection.
Injection works. I think that's safe.
We're going to compel you. We're going to, it's not, don't break the traffic laws.
Right, yeah.
Because that protects other people. So we're going to compel you. We're going to force you.
What if they refuse?
To drive your car for us.
Yeah. Well, what if a tow truck driver is like, no, I'm not going to tow the trucks out of here?
Yeah.
What then, Trudeau?
So, well, there's a lot. We'll get to that.
Doesn't this seem like a lot of, I don't know, a lot of hoops to jump through instead of just saying, you know what, you're right, it's your choice?
Yes.
Doesn't it seem like there's a lot going on?
Yeah.
A little bit.
Or just this just seems like quite a big deal.
Right. They're not asking to enact prima nocta.
No, it's just
they're just saying like, hey, we think that vaccines, people should be able to take them, and we shouldn't have to.
And they're like, let's pull out the 88.
Yes.
It's staggering.
Yeah.
How far this is going.
Remember this, and this is why you don't call January 6th an insurrection.
Yeah.
Because guess what they call an insurrection? People linking arms saying, we're just not going to put that needle in our ass. Well, that's an insurrection now. It's an insurrection now. Now, what's next? If a pharmaceutical company says, hey, you know what? You should be taking a baby aspirin every day.
Yeah.
Okay, I see that, but you know what? I don't want to. No, it's an insurrection if you don't take your baby aspirin. They have no right to tell you this. This is all these people want. They just want to be able to continue to make a living without being forced to take something that, now, I understand, I'm not saying the vaccine is entirely without its benefits or merits, but it is irrefutable that there are no long-term studies on the effects, period. That's a valid concern. Force them?
And if I read this correctly the other day, you have Gretchen Whitmer worried because even with these borders now shut down, it is affecting Michigan and Michigan jobs. And it's like, you're the reason this happened.
Right.
What did you think jumping on this and causing all this problem was?
Right.
What did you think it was going to do?
Yeah.
It wasn't going to come back to bite you in the ass?
Right.
Where do you think Trudeau got the balls for this? He has shown us he has no balls in the past.
Right.
He got it from our actions.
Right.
At 100%.
Yep.
Yeah.
Governor Whitmer, this is now hitting Michiganders in their pocketbook.
Oh, boy.
Like shutting down their business, not shutting down not putting a truck somewhere that makes it inconvenient where you have to do, you have to use Waze to give you the roundabout way because of a traffic disruption. You actually walked into businesses and said, hey, you got a nice little business here, don't you? Yeah, I do. Not anymore. Done. And now you're bitching that it's affecting Michiganders' pocketbooks? Again, it's not do you live in a country with laws. Are the laws applied equally? More importantly, are they applied equally based on point of view? And that's what's happening. And it's going to keep in mind, there's been no violence.
Yeah.
None from these truckers.
The quote from Fortune was, the protests in Canada have been mostly peaceful, but not entirely on
Okay, so hold on a second. Mostly peaceful, but not entirely. So that's
Okay.
important. You go, oh, okay. So what act of violence occurred?
Right. Yeah.
Fair.
On Monday, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police arrested 12 people who were part of the Alberta protest and seized a cache of ammunition and weapons, including a machete. The RCMP said they believed the group had a, quote, willingness to use force against the police if any attempts were made to disrupt the blockade.
Okay. So
They arrested Danny Trejo?
Whoa. Yeah. Well, what is Tom Cruise going to come up with future crime and be like, I got to arrest you?
Yeah.
This is
What the hell?
dumbest thing.
What's also bizarre is because in
Pre-crime.
Canada, if they had guns, they would have mentioned the guns, but like ammunition and a machete.
A machete, yeah.
What are they going to do? Hot shots to throw the bullets at you? I mean, think about that for a second. So like there was no act of violence, but they had a knife.
I saw it in their eyes.
Did they use it?
Yes.
So now violence is having a tool to protect yourself. See that problem? When people used to say, well, no, mass shootings. Okay, so it's about mass shootings. You want these laws. Okay, well, then you go along with it. Okay, well, then I guess we'll give up some of our Second Amendment rights. Well, no, it's not about mass shootings. Now it's about stand your ground. It's about castle doctrine. You shouldn't be allowed to defend yourself. And like, oh, okay, I guess. And now it's a crime to own a gun. Now it's a crime to own a machete. We're going to consider an act of violence if a cop finds you with a knife.
Have you seen Hotel Rwanda, Stephen? Come on.
Yeah. He had
Those machetes.
He had a Blu-ray of Crocodile Dundee.
Yes.
We had to shoot him.
Yes.
Well, I think we can all agree on that one, Dave. Totally fine.
Well, part 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
By the way, really
he had
quick,
a copy of RoboCop 3. We beat him with his fake leg just because of his film selection.
And we had to.
The
could have been used as violence, sort of.
The plot actually does thicken on the Defiant L's account. I was just passed this by Brodigan. I don't know if we can bring it up if we have access to it or not, but the last tweet that they had put out was Justin Trudeau. And that was the one that got them, it looks like got them suspended, unless they were referencing another one. It says, when a government starts trying to cancel dissent or avoid dissent is when it's rapidly losing its moral authority to govern. And that was by Harper, the former prime minister, I think, in 2005. And then his next one is the ongoing blockades and occupations are presenting serious challenges to law enforcement ability to effectively enforce the law. Because of that, the federal government is invoking the Emergencies Act to supplement provincial and territorial capacity, also known as becoming a dictator.
Right.
So
the people are providing people are providing challenges to government. Oh, you mean what they're supposed to do? At least in the United States.
Yeah.
That's the design of the Constitution. The whole reason for the Constitution here in the United States, look, I know people are going to say, I'm going to sound like one of those conservative radio hosts, and I'm sorry for a second here, but the whole reason for the Constitution is to allow the people to present challenges to the government.
Yeah.
Because guess what? This country became the United States by people with muskets, maybe some Girondoni air rifles, maybe some puckle guns, some pitchforks, presenting challenges to royalty. Yeah. So they said, we got to make sure that the citizens can always present challenges. And people said, well, then can you make sure that we still own guns? Like, of course you can still own guns. And a ship's like, hey, can I have cannons? Like,
well, yeah.
Hell yeah, you can have cannons.
Can you fit them? Well, you know why they allowed you to do that? Because if you don't, it just builds up and ends up being revolution. And that's what the world had been prior. Right. Nobody could bring anything to government and say, hey, fix this. This is a problem. Governments would just ignore it, and then the people would eventually have to rise up and, Marie Antoinette you a couple of times.
Right. Let them eat shoe polish.
Syrup?
Is she the one that loved her horse?
I believe so.
I don't know.
She was a lover of many horses.
She loved cake,
She lived a full life. Now, he can also, by the way, under these emergency acts, he can bar travel to from specific areas. He can force evacuation of people and property. Compel. Hey, can we compel you to stop wearing blackface every other Thursday? Can we compel you to just stop wearing blackface every first, third, and fifth Thursday of the month?
And by that we do mean force.
Yes.
Yes.
Compel is just it's such a fake word. That's what I hate too.
Yeah.
That's the word that he
What it
uses.
means is we will arrest you. We will potentially seize your vehicle. We will use our guns to make you do what we want you to do.
Well, we had $10 million for the truckers, and well, we're actually going to send our guys with guns if you let, and we feel compelled now to not keep it.
Yeah.
Compel to anybody listening to it sounds like, can we interest you, regardless of what the meaning is.
Yeah.
Right.
That's why that bothers me.
No, it's not like we're
so
going
much.
to incentivize them.
Right. Yeah, but that's what you think.
Yeah, what do you mean compel?
Yeah.
Tax break.
Yeah. Good.
We're going to give tax breaks to truckers who clear it out. And what do you mean by that? Break their windows and put their children under protected custody?
Like mafia type stuff, we compel.
Freeze their accounts and take all their money.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Like gaudy tactics.
Yeah. And that's why you elected me, right? So the punishment for violating the Emergencies Act, and here's the thing, this is a two-tiered punishment system. So right now this is a new series of punishments.
Yeah.
A fine not exceeding $500 or imprisonment not exceeding 6 months or both for parking your truck. Or a fine not exceeding $5,000 or imprisonment not exceeding 5 years or both.
Oh.
This could mean jail and fines to people. Now keep in mind, that's to people, to the tow truck drivers who are, if they don't enforce, removing these trucks. Okay, the trucks, and the trucks. Keep in mind, it effectively should be a parking ticket.
Yeah.
Hey, you can't park there. Well, I did. I mean, this could be handled with meter maids.
Well, I did.
So this is punishment for people, private citizens. These are tow trucks who are now being ordered to pull away the other trucks that have been parked. Now, those initial trucks, right, the people who started the protest, the actual convoy, they are being threatened with $100,000 fines.
Wow.
And, of course, being put in jail.
That's incredible.
Being put in prison for a long term. I don't know exactly what it is. I think it could be indefinitely. That's another term, isn't it? They can be compelled to enter that cell and compelled to remain there indefinitely.
We have, I think it's jailed for a year.
Jailed for a year.
Up to a
For
year.
a parking ticket.
Pretty much.
But the parking ticket inconveniences the government, who, by the way, kind of inconvenience the people by not allowing them to conduct business or leave their house. I don't know. I thought that was decidedly inconvenient.
Yeah.
That seems...
You're causing traffic, Stephen.
Right.
Have you seen the map that's all just red?
We cause traffic at a bridge. You caused traffic at my front door because I couldn't even go out to pick up the piling Amazon packages because I had to spray it down and I wasn't allowed to leave. You caused traffic in people's households.
Have you seen the border for the last 2 years? I mean, is this really slowing it down more than it was already?
Right. Yeah.
It's maybe slowing it down 6 minutes.
It's the model of efficiency normally, but now.
It's always been such a breeze to get through the last 2 years.
This is always being done. What is it? You look at the Patriot Act in the United States. It's always being done under the guise of security. They're saying that these blockades, these insurrections, which are not violent, by the way, they're threatening our national security. So this is why we have to enact these authoritarian policies. And this is, by the way, hilarious. Everyone's a hypocrite, of course, but it's not that Justin Trudeau is a hypocrite. It's that he doesn't believe what he's saying. I've always said this. When Nancy Pelosi wanted to lock everybody down, and then she was going and getting a blowout in her particle vortex so she could have the Sergeant Greenberg haircut, she was being a hypocrite. It's that she wasn't afraid that the virus had a 4% mortality rate. It's that she obviously wasn't afraid to go out in public and not wear a mask and do rules for thee, but not for me. It's not that people are hypocrites. Everyone is a hypocrite because we are all sinful people. It's our people being hypocritical because they don't believe what they're saying. And Justin Trudeau, let me make my case here when he's talking about it being a threat to security, and that's a problem. It's hilarious considering that he publicly supported the 2020 India farmer protest that utilized what? Blockades! I think you have that overlay there.
Oh, my. I thought, okay.
Thought we were going to see a blockade of crap.
Of the Indian blockades, Trudeau said, and he did it in an accent, which was insensitive. He said,
"Let
me remind you that Canada will always be there to defend the right to peaceful protest." And I said, well, thank you very much, but could you take off the brown shoe polish when you talk to us?
And he said no, sternly.
Right. He just showed up to speak with their ambassadors with a jewel on his forehead.
This
is just what I do. It's my thing.
You going to dance too?
Pandering son of a... He said, we believe in the importance of dialogue, and that's why we have reached out through multiple means directly to the Indian authorities to highlight our concerns. But at no point has Trudeau even attempted to have a dialogue with the truckers.
Really?
Just to be clear.
Nor anyone in politics.
Yeah. Right.
At all.
He said no dialogue, but when it comes to other places, comes to other people, we think it's important to have a dialogue.
Yeah, well, they showed up to redress their grievances with government, and he's like, I got to go to the United States right now. It's really dangerous here. So I'll be back.
Yeah, and then he was never back.
No,
there was just a Trudeau-shaped cloud of where he used to be.
Yeah, sorry.
There's just a Trudeau-shaped hole in the border wall.
Yes, sorry.
Oh, my gosh.
Sorry, maybe I can convince you guys.
Yes.
Whatever.
Compel.
By the way, we shouldn't really be all that surprised considering, Trudeau's past comments about which country would you think that Trudeau most admires outside of Canada?
Does it start with a C?
Japan.
Cancun.
Which nation's administration do you most admire?
At a controversial fundraiser dubbed Ladies' Night, Trudeau said this.
There's a level of admiration I actually have for China. Their basic dictatorship is allowing them to actually turn their economy around on a dime.
Oh, really? Okay, so many things wrong with that. First off, yes, Ladies' Night and him is hilarious and appropriate. Second, it was only controversial. It was controversial because of the stupid shit he said. It wouldn't be controversial if you stopped saying stupid shit. And then he also, same language, their dictatorship is allowing them. That's how he sees you. He allows you. Some views are impermissible, are intolerable. China's great because their dictatorship is allowing them. That's the difference between the concept of inalienable rights. The government in the United States does not grant or take away rights. It serves only to protect them because they're recognized as birthrights. Trudeau doesn't believe that. And by the way, the government of Canada does not believe that. Even conservative Canadians. Nowhere else in the United States do you have that. And by the way, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Nancy Pelosi, they want us to go the direction of Canada. They say it. It's not a surprise. They praise them.
Yeah. Well, hey, look, if you can just kill people and silence dissidents, you'll have a booming economy. It's fantastic. Because that's the most important thing is that the economy's doing well.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, never mind the people you're throwing into concentration camps essentially in China right now, or the millions of people that have been affected by, being people that hold unapproved opinions.
Right.
There, right? Or being able to have a social credit score and be able to travel outside of the country or get a car or get a loan or anything like that. I mean, none of that's important.
Are you describing Canada?
Well, that's what he wants.
Oh, you're describing China.
Yeah, well, that's
I got confused.
Well, it's, you know,
either way.
you never know. No.
I think social credit's the most important kind of credit.
I really do, too.
I want my country to be an episode of Black Mirror.
Exactly.
He admires the Chinese so much that he was actually happy to solicit millions of dollars for them at a 2016 fundraiser. Hey, why wasn't that shit frozen?
Wasn't on Gifts and Go.
Ladies' night.
Let me read this from you from the Globe. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau was the top draw at a $1,500 Liberal Party cash for access fundraiser at the mansion of a wealthy Chinese-Canadian business executive in May. Wealthy Chinese businessman Zhang Bing, who with a partner donated, I thought who was part of his name.
I know.
With a partner donated $1 million to the Pierre Elliott Trudeau Foundation and the University of Montreal Faculty of Law weeks after the fundraiser. So think about that for a second. Raising money for China, and he said he loved China.
He does.
You're talking about a country that commits actual genocide. This is the issue, right? Can this be, well, it can't be frozen because this is someone who's in power. This is one of the elites. This is a person who's favored. But then you, the citizens, truck drivers, working class Canadians, this same guy who raised that money for a communist dictatorship can tell you, you can't park there. And by the way, when I say you can't park there, I mean that I'm going to take all of your assets and put you in prison.
Yeah. Well, and Dave, just so you know, there was that. He misread the invitation. He thought it was Ladyboy night.
Oh, that's true.
And
yes.
He loves the Ladyboy culture.
He was the only one that paid to get in, though.
Yes. Then they made him pay to get out.
Stupid.
Yes, when he walked out, his period had synced with the rest of them. What an awful man.
Yeah, I know.
Just an
I love it. He raised $10 that night, though. So
He
Canadian
did. It was
dollars, so not quite.
Yeah.
So $6.
$6.
Something like that.
Something like that. This man, just for crying out.
So hey, I mean, I do
Prime
have
Minister
a question.
Menzies.
I have a question.
Yes.
I mean, I'm sure a lot of viewers right now, like we always talk through these situations and obviously give you the reason to be frustrated, mad, you know, whatever it is, pissed off at government. Like, but so what can Americans do to support Canadians in this?
Well, I will say
what would
this.
you advise, I guess.
Before it was technically a country, the Canadians burned down the White House. And
Well,
when I was
I
was raised
jerk
in
move. Okay,
I know. Well, and exactly. When I was raised in Canada, they bragged about that for a semester. I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
that's just because you don't expect your friends to burn down your stuff. Okay.
True.
It was sneak attack. We get it. But I'm just saying, we never paid them back for that.
So we should just.
No, I'm joking. I'm joking. Of course, you shouldn't burn down.
No. They don't have a White House anyway, so that's
they
fine.
They don't. Do you know this? That actually someone tried to assassinate the Canadian Prime Minister. I believe it was Jean Chrétien at that point. Person gets into the Prime Minister's house. Gets into the house. Gets up to the bedroom door, has like a plastic knife and fork that he got from Tim Hortons, and the wife stopped him by closing the door.
That'll happen.
Yeah, and then he was like, but then at that point she called security, and he just sat there and waited for him.
Was it Air Bud the assassin?
There's nothing in the rule books that says golden retrievers can't kill prime ministers.
Oh my gosh.
So look, this is the thing is, and I want you to comment below what your take has been, of course, from this. And you know what? Just so show some support for Canadians out there. I don't know where we can actually help raise money at this point. We'll need to get back. Get back to you guys because I don't know what's happening with Give, Send, Go. But I will say this. Right. First off, they do need your moral support because they have 1/10 the population of the United States. Okay? And the Prime Minister has the moral support of this government. Also, keep in mind, where you just talked about that, the Twitter account that had been removed. If Justin Trudeau, I don't think it's a conspiracy. If you see the Canadian Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, is able to compel companies like GoFundMe. We know that they spoke. We know that GoFundMe said at the behest, effectively, of the government. Yeah. And this is what affected them shutting down the donations that were being raised privately for peaceful protests. I don't think it's too much of a stretch to say they're making a call to Twitter, who works with governmental authorities, to say, remove that because it doesn't look good. I think we're beyond the realm of conspiracy here. I'm not saying that I can prove that's exactly why that Twitter account was removed, but there are so many examples with irrefutable proof of the government squeezing YouTube, squeezing Facebook, squeezing GoFundMe, squeezing Patreon, right? This is squeezing the App Store, squeezing Amazon, that I actually think it would be silly to assume it's something different if we now find ourselves in a situation where any social media account channel critical of government is removed. That would be the most likely explanation at this point.
Yeah.
Can we agree on that?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and look, they can't enforce their rules in the United States. So if you live, I hope I'm not stepping on any laws here from other countries, but like if you live in Michigan or something like that, and you know some of those truckers are coming over, and you have local access to be able just letting them know that you support them, right? If they're around there, like in your area, go do that. That's at the very least, that's going to be like solidarity.
I would love to see a freedom trucker convoy here in the United States.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would love to see that here in the United States, especially if it's as peaceful as it was in Canada.
I know.
And I would also love to see Canadians seek asylum. I mean, for crying out loud, if people can do it in a caravan from Honduras, why can't Canadians right now? Can they come to Michigan? Can they go to Michigan and claim asylum? Because they're actually
oppressive government.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Asylum, you do not seek asylum just because your country is not as good as the United States. Yeah. That's not asylum. But when the government is freezing your bank accounts and threatening to jail you for speaking out against the government, or my God, jailing pastors for still preaching when the government tried to shut them down, I can't think of a more clear-cut example of a people claiming asylum. If the United States wants to actually care about immigrants claiming asylum, it would, at no point in our life, would that asylum rule, because it also has to be the nearest country.
Yes.
At no point in our life would it be more appropriate than Canadians right now fleeing Canada to the United States. We would have to grant them asylum. How about that? Can there be a movement to grant Canadians asylum? I don't know what we can do policy-wise, but I do know that we have a lot of people right now watching and listening. I would love to see a freedom convoy here in the United States. That's a peaceful way to have an impact. I would love to see some lawyers help get some Canadians here in the United States claiming asylum. It is entirely appropriate. And I know you guys, you right now watching, listening, are probably saying, well, I can't do that. Well, if you're a truck driver, you can. You can talk with your friends. Maybe you work at a grocery store. And you can start a freedom bagging convoy. I don't know.
I would love to see tow truck drivers just leave Canada.
Yes.
No tow trucks to be found. Sorry, we're all out.
Right.
That's a good
Great.
point, actually.
Just leave.
There you go.
Do you have
Get
an
out of there.
attic and blank diary?
Yeah. And by the way, just leave. You should be able to, because something open borders. Oh, no, wait. That doesn't apply to you. And we're back at the law not applying equally.
Yeah.
And based on a point of view. So that's what I would love to see, and I would love to hear what your solutions are. But people right now, if you're watching, if you're listening, Canada needs your support, not only because these people are actually putting their bodies and their livelihoods on the line. Mm-hmm. When people say, hey, you have these people who say, when the shit goes down, we have the guns. Yeah, but guess what? If you don't do anything before that, you don't have the communication methods. If there, God forbid, there were ever kind of a civil war, guns are not the only part of that equation. Yeah. And there are a lot of steps. I've said this before. We've gotten in trouble for it because people tried to say that I was trying to invoke a civil war. No, I'm saying there are so many options before any kind of violence. And these Canadians have figured out a really, really effective one.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of ways that you can make your voices heard peacefully, but more effectively than burning down your own cities like Black Lives Matter did. That's not what we do. Right now, the country is scared in Canada. And by the way, the government of the United States is terrified that it comes here. For what? Why are they scared? Let's distill this. Let's be reductive. They're scared because people who are in charge of shipping, right, who are largely in charge of the supply chain, have simply said, look, we're not going to do it anymore if you're forcing us to take something we don't want to take. That's all they've done. That's all they've done. And the government is so terrified that it's basically 1984. And all eyes are on Canada right now. If your eyes aren't, you better put them there. Because I guarantee you former Vice President Biden's getting briefings every day. And so is President Harris. They are terrified of this happening in the United States. Don't let the left be the party of protest and make everybody think, I don't want future civilizations to look back and think, oh, the United States only allowed protests when they were violent and harming their own communities. Yeah. I want them to look back at this point in time and say, okay, who actually affected real change? And sure, 2022 is going to be a massacre for Joe Biden, but that's not the only thing.
Hey, it looks like there might be a USA convoy organizing from Indio, California to Washington, D.C. starting March 4th.
Okay. Huh? There was one that they tried to start on Facebook and it got shut down. Yeah. So that's another problem. We'll look into it. And the problem is the United States. So there need to be more, because in Canada, basically you shut down one or two ports and they're like, oh, what do we do? Whereas here, I mean, we have a lot more.
Is frozen.
Things travel. There's like, we're shutting down. You can't go to Seattle. Like, we'll just go around.
Portland, here we come.
Portland, here we come. And then Portland's like, hey, Chaz. Well, that's not an occupation. So look.
Not that it matters though, but it does matter actually. The people do look back on this. It is freezing cold.
Yeah.
it's not just freezing their. Seriously, it's cold.
They're
and
freezing their
No, like they can seriously kill them. That's how cold it is.
Yeah, no.
Think about that.
But they can't have fuel to make sure that they have heat in their
That's
truck.
what I mean. They can't have fuel
exactly.
to even heat them.
And you can't
So
bring it to them for free.
It's not just even food and bank accounts. Like they can literally kill them with the temperature right now.
And you add insult to injury that Cold Stone Creamery is just making a killing. They're just doing their ice cream and going
Pavement.
crazy
Yeah.
with it on the pavement. You're like, oh, okay.
like, what are you doing? Just mixing it, basically?
Oh, we don't even have to pay for slabs.
Yeah.
Want some Maurice's in there? No, I don't.
No, I don't brag.
Thank you.
So smash that like button here. We're about to play, of course, Stephen O Sports, the Super Bowl edition. Smash the like button because YouTube does not want anyone to see this. And, of course, we won't criticize the Olympics anymore. We've learned our lesson. I will say this. What do you expect when you're dealing with Prime Minister Trudeau? You know that I can't stand him. Him and Governor Whitmer, I believe, are evil people. But what do you expect when you're dealing with someone who is, of course, the fully legitimate son of Fidel Castro? I don't know. Yep. Now, look.
Oh, my God.
That's a segment for another day. I can say that it is 100% confirmed. It was even on, we'll find the old Maury video of Fidel. You are the father, but we'll do that another day. YouTube, piss off.